Hello everyone and welcome to this walkthrough of Star Trek Online Fleets. My name is Winters and you are very welcome. So in this walkthrough, what I'm going to cover is really fleet management and sort of the process of building up a fleet and what you should be focusing on in terms of fleet projects and the theory behind it, the strategy that you take when building up a fleet. I'm not going to go into recruitment or anything like that because that's kind of self-explanatory and it's usually down to the fleet leader, how much they want to build their fleet. If they want it just to be a small fleet with, who knows, 10 members, or if they want to, have a really big fleet with 500 members. So let's click here and we'll open up the fleet window, and this is the fleet window. You can see along the top here we have Overview, which is what we're currently looking at. We have Holdings, News, Events, Roster, Information, Settings, and Armada. Now what we are going to focus on is Holdings. And when we click on Holdings, we can see down here along the left-hand side a list of all holdings that we currently have. So we have the Dilithium Mine, the Embassy, K-13, Research Lab, Spire, and finally the Starbase. So the first thing that you are going to want to do, or what your primary focus should be, is the dilithium mine. And the reason for this is because once you have the dilithium mine fully completed, as in 100% tier 3, you get a 15% discount on all future projects and upgrades and the costs associated with them. So there would be, let's take this project for example, 15% less provisions needed, 15% less energy credits needed, 15% less expertise needed, 15% less engineering and operation duty officers needed, and so on. You don't need me to go on. And for this upgrade, the same thing applies as well. There would be a reduction, 15% less marks and 15% less dilithium needed. Now, let's talk about holdings themselves for a minute. Every holding has its own facilities. Now, what is a facility? Well, this here, it's marked as trade. We can see it's tier 2. This is a facility. So this is the tier 2 trade facility. Well, at least it's currently tier 2 now. This is the development facility. And if we look at all the different holdings, we can see, look, they all follow the same pattern. They all have 2 facilities. Now, the Starbase is a little bit different. It has 3 facilities. This one is military, which is basically your shipyard. This one is engineering, which is your fabrication array. And this one is science, which is your communications array. That's if you're going looking at the actual items at that location. By clicking on any of the different tiers, okay, so let's say when we got this up to tier 1, it unlocked all these here. So for military, it unlocked all these ships that we see listed here. How do I put it? Yeah, alright, so in the case of engineering, we'll say when we hit tier 2, it unlocked, we can see here, operational assets, the engineering boost, they're crap. But the most important thing is advanced fleet weapons. So until the facility will reach tier 2 and the upgrade completed, we did not have access to advanced fleet weapons. Once we reach tier 2, because reaching tier 2 and upgrading to tier 2 are 2 totally different things. As you can see here, look, for military, we have reached tier 3, but we have not upgraded to tier 3 because we're still currently at tier 2. If we look down here, we can actually see upgrade shipyard 3, which is the tier 3 upgrade for it. So yeah, getting or reaching the tier level and upgrading to the tier level are 2 totally different things. And for each tier level that we reach, it unlocks or does something for us. And in the case of tier 2 engineering, the most notable thing was advanced fleet space weapons. We also got advanced fleet engines as well. But by clicking on the different tiers, you can see what is unlocked once you have completed the upgrade for that tier, and you can see what it unlocks. So if we go back to the dilithium mine, and we'll click here on Tier 1 Trade, we get this equipment, Ultra Rare Advanced Engineering Armor Consoles Mark 10. And same here with RCS Consoles Mark 10. That's what was unlocked. Also, we get a Commodity and Energy Credit Fleet Project Discount 4%. Okay, so that's a discount there for that stuff. And we get a 4% discount. At Tier 2, we get this equipment unlocked. And we also get Commodity and Engineering Fleet Discount 5%. So that's a total of 9% now that we've currently got, okay, by completing the Tier 2 upgrade. And Tier 3, we can see here Commodity and Energy Credit Fleet Project Discount 6% on top of our 9%, which is a 15% discount, okay? Development gives, where are you? Fleet Project Mark Discount 4%, and the same thing, it goes up to 5 and then 6, giving us a total of 15%. The actual holding itself then is separate on all holdings in terms of the upgrades, all right? So these are the facilities, and then this is the actual holding itself. And just like the facilities, you have to reach the tier level and then upgrade to that tier level. So if we click here on possible upgrades and scroll down, look, we have upgrade dilithium mine 2. All right, so that's the tier 2 upgrade for the dilithium mine. Don't worry about these ones. These are some 20-hour projects that we will complete eventually, but they're not really that important. But it is a good idea to do them eventually. So you can see we have reached Tier 2, but we are not Tier 2 yet because we haven't done the upgrade. And if we see here, we've got it slotted. So once this upgrade completes, the next one will kick in. And if I go down here, we can see what the costs are. So it requires 2,730 dilithium mine provisions. It requires just short of 10 million energy credits. It requires 615 common duty officers. It needs 500,000 expertise and just over 16,000 fleet marks. That's the cost, okay? Right. So, what to talk about next? Right, how do we level up the different facilities? So, how do we get experience in these different facilities to progress the bar up further and further and further until it reaches the next tier level? That is done by running projects within that facility. So I'm going to click on this one now, for example. And we can see here, these are the costs that are associated with this particular project. And if we look up here, rewards, it says it gives 1,200 dilithium mine trade experience points, meaning that once this is completed, okay, it will then go on a 20-hour cooldown, and when that 20-hour cooldown is finished, it will add 1,200 dilithium mine trade experience to this bar here. So it will probably move from here to here. That's roughly what it will move by. And this number here will go up, so that would be 9,000. So it'll go up to 30,000 because 28,800 and 1,200 XP on top of that is 30,000. And every day you complete your projects, you get experience for them, or at least with this project anyway. Okay. Now, if I click on this empty slot here, no, actually, I'll click here on this one. So, when selecting a project, you need to find out which project it is that you want to run. We'll look at first at the different types of projects there are. So we've already talked about this one, and this one, the only thing it gives is dilithium mine trade experience, and it gives us 1,200 points. This one, if we look at the rewards, it gives 8 dilithium mine trade personal requisition provisioning. Okay, and it also gives 200 dilithium mine trade experience points. So we get a little bit of experience points, but we get 8 dilithium mine personal requisition provisions. And if we look at this project, then we can see that it gives us 500 dilithium mine trade experience points. Now, I'm going to talk about this one here. What are dilithium mine trade personal requisition provisions? So if you remember here, okay, the gear that was unlocked when we got to Tier 2, which were ultra rare, advanced engineering, armor consoles, Mark 11. These ones are Mark 11 as well, but they're RCS consoles. If I want to purchase one of those consoles, or let's say 4 of those consoles, it doesn't really matter. I need a few things. I need fleet credits, which I will get by donating resources into fleet projects. I need dilithium, which I'm sure you don't need me to go into how to farm dilithium. And the other thing that we need is dilithium mine personal trade requisition provisions. All right, and you need one of those for each item that you are going to purchase. Now, where do you get these personal requisition provisions? When the fleet completes, let me go back here, these projects, all right? This one gives 8 dilithium mine trade personal requisition provisions. By completing these projects, the fleet builds up its provisions. Now, if you look up here, we have a provisions tab. So if we click on that, we can see dilithium mine trade personal requisition provisions, 0. Development provisions, or the long name, dilithium mine development personal requisition provisions, 0 as well. Which means we cannot buy anything, not one thing from the fleet stores because we have 0 provisions. Okay? Let me switch to a different character and I will show you what it's like in a completed fleet. And I'll also show you something else as well, which will just be easier on a different character. Okay, so I'll open up the fleet window. I'm going to go to holdings, and we can see here, look, trade provisions, 2,512. Dilithium provision, or development provisions, sorry, 2,358. Okay, that's how many provisions are there. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to travel to the fleet dilithium mine. Let you have a look at it. I'm going to show you what it's like to purchase something from the fleet. I'm just going to go through the steps. Okay, I'm not actually going to purchase anything because I don't need anything. But first, what we will do is we are going to go via the Fleet Starbase. So, Fleet Starbase. So this is a handy way to get to it. Because now, basically what I'm doing is I'm transwarping to the Fleet Starbase because I have a free transwarp there. I'm going to dock with the Fleet Starbase, and then I'm going to take the shuttle over to the dilithium mine. And that is it's either a tier 2 or tier 3 unlock on the dilithium mine. I can't remember exactly. See here, transwarp to fleet dilithium mine. It's tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. I can't remember exactly. Actually, I know what. We'll check it here now, real quick. So holdings and status. Right now. When I say tier 2 or tier 3, I'm on about the actual mine upgrades themselves. Unlocked mail, bank, project mark discount, nope. Tier 3, interior level access, dilithium, nope. Where is the, maybe it's tier 1. No. It must be tier 2 then. I must have missed it. Ah, there it is. Yeah, tier 2. Interfleet shuttle. allows fleet members to travel directly to the fleet Starbase interior from the fleet dilithium mine, or vice versa. That is, do you remember the upgrades that we had here? We had some 20-hour ones. I'll show you them after. All right, beam to surface. When we go back onto the other character, I'll show you. So this is the fleet dilithium mine. And if we go around to our right here, this guy requisitions, or this is the fleet warp core vendor. Okay, so if you want to buy a fleet warp core, that's the guy you talk to. We have bank access here. This guy is a duty officer contact. You can purchase duty officers from him. This guy has assignments. Mine and motherloads and mine dilithium motherloads. These are two projects that can be done once you have them unlocked. If we look here, I am currently running them. They are a great way of getting development and trade experience. You also get 500 dilithium for this one, and you get energy credits for this one. If you crit, you get a bucket load of energy credits. It's actually really nice. And the perfect DOFs for running both of these projects. Okay, so look, these are miners, okay? These are miners, and these guys are miners as well, actually, funnily enough. But we'll close this down. We talk to this guy. We can see we have all different types of miners, all right? So we're looking for the very rare ones, and I believe it's this guy. Let me check that real quick. Find out. Yep, Brennick, and then Tetsunuik. Yeah, that's it. So this is the guy you want. 5 copies of him. He's 125,000 fleet credits for each one that you purchase. So that's a lot of fleet credits by the time you've finished. Then if we look here, we have Uridians. And for the other project, then what you're looking for is the Hortas. And this is the Horta you're looking for. Again, 5 copies of him. And you will get the highest possible chance to crit while doing either of these 2 missions here. Now this here allows you to refine an extra 500 dilithium ore per day. Alright, so that's a very important one. If you've got a lot of dilithium, you can refine an extra 500 per day by visiting that guy. This here is the exchange. Tailor here, and mail access here. See, mail. And then this guy has engineering consoles. So we'll talk to this guy. And remember, we were looking at engineering consoles. See, look here. Mark 10, Mark 11, Mark 12s. Alright. And it says we need 50,000 fleet credits and 8,500 dilithium. Okay. But what it doesn't say is that we also need provisions. Now, if you remember, when we looked at our trade provisions, we had 2,512. Look up here. 2,512. If that was at 0, we wouldn't be able to buy anything here. Okay? So this, the provisions that are built up by the fleet do not go anywhere except this window here, basically. They don't go into the fleet bank. They don't go into your inventory. They don't go into your personal bank. These are items that are held by the fleet, okay? And you need one of these for each item that you purchase. And trade provisions are only usable at the fleet dilithium mine to get engineering consoles. If I want a fleet warp core, okay, it only takes development provisions that are only usable at the fleet dilithium mine. Look, 2,358 stays the same for all the different types, the advanced, the elite, and that's for normal warp cores and singularity cores. And if I go back here, development provisions, 2,358. Okay? And these are only used to buy warp cores from the fleet dilithium mine. These are only used to buy engineering consoles from the fleet dilithium mine. Okay? Right. I think that is... I think I got my point across there. So I'm going to go back to the other character now. Right, so let's open up the fleet window. We're going to click on holdings. And yeah, right. So that's what, or that's how you build up provisions, by running fleet projects that reward you with provisions. And these are needed in order to purchase gear from that particular facility. Okay? Now, when building up any holding, be it the lithium mine, be it the embassy, the K-13 station, research lab, Spire, whatever, I recommend roughly, it's a rule of thumb, I recommend about 20 to 25 provisions. Actually, I just thought of something. First of all, you cannot build up any provisions at all until you get to Tier 1. Okay? You have to build up the facility all the way up to Tier 1, complete the upgrade, before you can start running any of these projects that give provisions. Alright? Which actually brings me on to a very important point. If we look here, this has reached Tier 1, or Tier 2, but has not been upgraded to Tier 2. And if we click here, look, we've got 1 trade project, 2, 3 trade projects, okay? But look at what we've got in development. We've only got 1. So when you reach a new tier level, it takes out the 1200 point project and the 500 point project, okay? And like if I click here, see, doesn't matter which one I click on. I'm clicking here because there's already a project slotted in there. So the only one that is available is the provision one, assuming that you're at tier 2. If you were at tier 1, you wouldn't have any projects available for development. Okay, so let's look at the embassy here. All right, embassy is not even tier 1 yet. Provisions are 0, and let's look at the projects that are available. We've got this one, which gives us 1200 XP, and we've got this one that gives 500 XP. See, there's no trades, or sorry, not trade. There's no provision projects at all, and they will not be unlocked until we get, in this case, the diplomacy facility up to tier 1 and complete the upgrade. Okay, so it's actually important when selecting your projects. What you want to do is you want to select or work on one facility at a time. Okay, so how you would start this is, in your top slot you would put in the 1200 point project, okay, and in the bottom slot you would put in the 500 point project. All right, and build trade all the way up to tier 1, and that will unlock the tier 1 trade upgrade, which will be available down here. Okay, and you just select it and it will go in here, and you can start upgrading trade to tier 1. Now while it's doing that, and bear in mind you don't have any more trade projects at this point, okay, what you do is you switch to the development, which is down at tier 0, okay, and you again select the trade or the red one for a project that has 1200 experience, and in the bottom slot or the second slot you select the next one that has 500 experience. Keep in mind now I'm talking about the red projects, but because I'm at tier 2 they're not available for me. And yeah, by the time you get development up to tier 2, you should have completed, or sorry, tier 1, you should have completed the tier 1 upgrade for trade, which means then you can slot the tier 1 upgrade for development, and you can continue working on trade and get it up to tier 2. So you kind of go this one up, then 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 this one up. All right, you leapfrog them. Okay, one goes ahead of the other. And in between that, then you can slot in the different upgrades, 20-hour upgrades. So, excuse me, this one is a dilithium store discount. Basically, that's in here. Excuse me. You get a discount on all items that are in the dilithium store. To be perfectly honest with you, you're not going to use it. The stuff in here is shit. Okay, it's absolute crap, and you shouldn't be wasting any dilithium on any of the crap that's in here anyway, unless it's free, like in the reclaim tab. See this stuff? It's all free for me. You may or you may not have stuff in here. It depends on how long you've been playing the game. Right. The next one is a freighter contact. It's right. Upgrade to all fleet members. Call trade freighter power to have a 50% reduction in recharge time. Do I have it here? No, that's Nimbus, isn't it? It is Nimbus. I don't have it here. Excuse me. Oh wait, no, there it is. So this thing, Azure Personal Com Code. You should have picked this up from your very first mission called Stranded in Space. You can activate this device while in sector space or quadrant space, and it will bring the Azure freighter to your current location, and you can access bank, mail, and exchange access from that freighter for a couple of minutes. But it's got like a 2-hour cooldown, and these improved freighter contact upgrades reduce that cooldown. Now, a smart person, okay, would bank all of these 20-hour upgrades, all right, not the facility or Starbase or facility or holding upgrades. Look at this one, it's 7 days. Bank all the 20-hour ones until you've got the dilithium mine up to tier 3. I mean, trade tier 3, development tier 3, mine tier 3. And these will reduce in cost, and they won't be as costly then. Most people tend to, as soon as they get an upgrade for whatever, they slot it straight away. A smart person will only upgrade what they need to, okay? So what do you need to? You need to upgrade the dilithium mine to tier 2 at some point, okay? You need to upgrade development to tier 2 at some point. You do not need to run a 20-hour project to reduce the time of the freighter. You do not need a 4% discount on the dilithium store straight away. Basically, this adds up the very same as the rest of these. It'll be a 15% discount on the dilithium store. Now, you can totally sell this stuff to your members, and because it is a perk, even though it's a perk they're probably not going to use, but if you want, you can sell it to them and say, by being with us, you get a 50% discount on the dilithium store or whatever. Fact is that no matter what fleet you're in, you're probably going to end up with a 15% discount on the dilithium store. But anyway, so yeah, a smart person will only upgrade what they have to, and the only things you have to upgrade are the 2 facilities and then the actual holding itself. And once you have all 3 of those done, you will then have a 15% discount on all future project costs and upgrade costs. And at that point, then do the 20-hour upgrades, and you'll save yourself a hell of a lot of provisions and fleet marks and expertise and DOFs and dilithium. They're just that much cheaper. So this is the first one that you should be working on. Now, if you've got members, already in your fleet, you can't really say, right guys, we're only working on the dilithium mine, and not slot projects in the different holdings, because once these go on cooldown, these projects, they go on cooldown. Look, I'll do it here now. They go on cooldown for 20 hours. Okay, look at that there, 20 hours, until this project finishes and the next one slots in. And I'm not slotting in another project here because I'm doing this the ultra efficient way. Don't worry about it yourselves. But anyway, um, what was I saying? I hate it when that happens. Oh yeah. So assuming that you have the two projects, so we'll say this 1200 point project and the 500 point project, and both of them go on cooldown. Now there's no way for your members to earn fleet credits. Okay, they have absolutely no way of earning fleet credits, and you can't really do that to them. Um, so you would have to run projects in the different holdings as well, but follow the same theory. You know, build up one facility first to tier one, then work on the second facility. The reason why these are both the same is because I have the two 1200 point projects slotted, and this is an inactive fleet, i.e., there are no members in it. Okay, I am the only one that's actually working on it, and I'm working on getting the mine up to tier 3. Okay, that's what I'm working on. And at a later date, we will bring this fleet online for members to join, and I will have the mine 100% completed already at that stage. Anyway, that's sidetracking. So my advice to you is, even though you have projects in these different ones, okay, your main focus as a fleet leader, okay, is to make sure that at the very least, the 1200 point project goes on cooldown every day. And by right, the 500 point project goes on cooldown every day. But at the very least, make sure it's the 1200 point one. Okay? At the very, very least, make sure that you're making that progress every day. Okay? It will take, assuming you get the projects on cooldown every day, you're looking at a month to 6 weeks to get the dilithium mine 100% upgraded. That's roughly the amount of time that you're looking at. It completely depends on if you're working on it yourself or if you have members in your fleet. If you're getting the projects on cooldown every day, and the more people you have in the fleet, the easier it will be as well. Especially for some of the upgrades. I mean, look at this. This needs 546 common duty officers. Now I'm doing it myself, but that's pretty substantial for a single person to do. Believe me, I know I'm doing it. I'm in a little bit of a different situation though. This, as you can see, there's only one member in it. It's me. This is one of our inactive fleets currently, and we've got a crap ton of fleets. And I'm basically working on this fleet to get it up and ready to be activated. So I do this in my spare time. I'm not rushing. I'm in no major panic to get the projects done every day because this fleet is not active yet. Yeah. Right, so that's the dilithium mine. I don't think I can talk any more about that. The only thing I will say is that all holdings except the Starbase, all right. So these, I call these the smaller holdings: Dilithium Mine, Embassy, K13, Research Lab, Spire. These are the smaller holdings because they've only got 2 facilities and they only go up to tier 3. The major holding is the Starbase. Okay. Now the Starbase is a little bit different. Starbase is a little bit different in that it has 3 facilities, and they go up to tier 5 instead of tier 3. Now, you follow the same sort of principle as you do with the smaller holdings. The projects are a little bit different. We can see here, look, I have reached tier 3, but I have not upgraded to tier 3. The upgrade is here, okay? And look, no military or red projects available except for this one. And look what it rewards. It rewards 5 military fleet ship provisions. All right, military fleet ship provisions are needed to purchase fleet ships from the fleet. Okay, look what it requires: 172,000 dilithium. It gives you nothing. So if I slotted that project, it would cost 172,000 dilithium to put the freaking thing on cooldown, and it won't even advance the bar a little bit, not even by 1 point. So stay the freaking hell away from these projects unless you've got fleet or dilithium to burn, which I know you don't, because nobody does. All right, dilithium is far too valuable, and that project is a complete waste. But if we look, science has one, and if we scroll down a bit further, engineering has one as well. Okay. So what I'll do is if we look at this project, it's not 1,200 points that it gives. It gives 1,000, and we'll scroll down. Right, this is the 1,000-point project. Okay. And if we look at the other ones that are available, provision science operational assets, it gives 500 science XP and 20 science operational asset provisioning. It's not something that you're going to use, operational assets. To be honest, you won't use them. Nobody will use them. They're crap. They're just not that great. This one gives you 500 science XP and 20 Starbase science personal requisition provisioning. These are used to purchase things like fleet pets, shields, deflectors, things like that. They are needed. Okay, they definitely are needed. This one rewards 500 science XP and 20 buff provisioning, basically. Again, you won't use it. It's crap. Nobody will use it. Not worth it at all. And then we just have the dilithium synchro. And if we scroll down a bit further, we can see here, look, 1,000 XP, operational assets, personal fleet equipment. This one you will need. This is these engineering provisions on Starbase are used to purchase things like fleet weapons, ground and space, fleet engines, obviously for your starship. So impulse engines I'm talking about, not fleet warp cores. And then we have the buff provisionings. You won't use them. I would say you need a minimum of 100 provisions for each. So now, when I say each, be very careful here, okay? I'm not saying of each type of provision. I'm saying the main ones for all three. So in terms of military, you need 100. No, you know, I'm going to change that. Let's say 20 as well. 20 fleet ship provisions is more than enough. 20 fleet ships is more than enough. If you drop below 20 fleet ship provisions, you need to provision up some more. Engineering, go for 100. You need at least 100 provisions in stock at all times. If you drop down to 99, you need to run another provision project. And science, I would say 50 to 100, roughly, and you're fine. And if you drop below whatever levels you set yourself, but I strongly recommend what I've stated, run a provision project. It is your job as a fleet leader to manage the provisions. That is your job. Your primary job is to manage fleet provisions and provide projects for members to earn fleet credits. So be a good fleet leader and know what you're doing. Stay the hell away from these projects that require only dilithium, because you're doing nothing, only hurting your fleet. You need dilithium elsewhere. Okay, look at this upgrade here. It needs just shy of 300,000 dilithium for the upgrade, and I have to do the upgrade. And imagine if I queued up this project and it needs 172,000. That 172 could have gone into this upgrade and got that damn thing finished a hell of a lot quicker. So don't make mistakes. Know what you're doing, okay? Know what you're doing when you're starting a fleet. You need to do your research. But this guide should help you an awful lot. I've said it to you now. You have nobody to blame but yourself if you mess up. Right. Next. Yeah, so we can see here, I've already got the tier 3 upgrade done. This one is active now, and we can see engineering is at just over tier 2. But I'm running one project for military, one project for science, and one project for engineering. And all of them, look here, see, are the 1,000-point projects. Okay? But see the way I've kind of got them leapfrogged? Like this one, any more projects I do here, this is going to advance up. This isn't going to advance any until I get this upgrade done. And this one's one step behind. So I've leapfrogged them up, essentially. Okay? It becomes less of a factor as the further you go up, because the numbers get ridiculous. So, for example, to get to tier 3, you need 50,000 experience in that facility to get to tier 3. To get to tier 5, you need 250,000 experience to get up there. So if you were able to, okay, to get the projects on the Starbase on cooldown every single day, trust me, you're not going to be able to keep that up because the costs get ridiculous. It would take you 250 days to get up here. In fact, it would actually take a lot more. You're looking at a minimum of about a year to get a Starbase from tier 0 all the way up to tier 5. Realistically, it's going to be longer than that. But bare minimum, if you were able to pull it off, you're looking at about a year. Because the upgrades themselves, let's have a look here. Right. So tier 1 is 20 hours. Tier 2 is I can't remember how long this upgrade is for. I think it's 5 days. Tier 2 is 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, and 14 days. That's it. That's how long it takes for the different tier levels. So there's 3 facilities, and then there's the Starbase itself. Yeah, you're looking at a year minimum. Right. Let's see. You may notice that I have not got the Starbase upgraded at all, even though we do have up as far as tier 3 unlocked. Now, there's a reason for that. Okay. Every time you do a Starbase upgrade, and if we look in the list here, all right, here's the tier 1 Starbase upgrade. Let's look at what it rewards. All right, so this one here, 1,500 military XP, 1,500 engineering XP, 1,500 science XP, and then these are just other things, unlocking mail access, for example. So that means, and it follows the same pattern, every time we do a Starbase upgrade, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, we're getting 1,500 XP for military, engineering, and science. Now I'm going to tell you the tier 4 to tier 5 grind is a freaking nightmare. To reach tier 4 is 100,000 XP in all 3 facilities. Okay? And if you can hold off on your Starbase upgrades and see these 20-hour ones, look at this one here. I unlocked this one for getting, I think it was military at tier 1. Same with these as well. Yeah, so see all these upgrades I have banked, all right? All right, we'll start off with the engineering one. Look here, 1,250 engineering XP, 1,250 science XP, 1,500 science XP, 1,250 military XP, okay? And you unlock a crap ton of these as you unlock or progress through the different tiers here. So if you can hold off on all these upgrades, all right, and only focus on upgrading your facilities, okay, you can knock off, I think it's somewhere like 40 days. That could be wrong. 20, 40? I think it's about 40 days. You can knock off about 40 days from the tier 4 to tier 5 grind, which is a fucking nightmare. In free experience that you will get from doing these little shitty 20-hour upgrades, and also the Starbase upgrades, because you're getting free experience for each one of those that you do. Now, other people would argue, yeah, but you get to tier 4 quicker. Never mind that. getting to tier 4 is not actually that bad. Getting to tier 3 is really easy. Tier 4 is hard. Tier 5 is a freaking nightmare. Okay? Tier 3 only requires 50,000 XP. That's 6 weeks. Less than 6 weeks, actually. Less than 6 weeks to go from tier 0 up to the tier 3. And it's double that again, or the same amount of time again, just to get to tier 4. And if you can hold off on all of those upgrades and wait until military is at tier 4, engineering is at tier 4, and science is at tier 4, then start doing them. When you start upgrading your Starbase, all 3 of these are going to jump up with every Starbase upgrade that you do with free experience, and then suddenly you're going to find your Starbase up at tier 4, and don't forget you have your 20-hour upgrades, each of them giving 1250 XP as well, and it'll jump up that little bit more. Now, for anyone who's starting off a brand new fleet, you're not in an armada, there's no benefit coming from an armada, or you don't have other characters that can help support you, I'm going to tell you a little trick. First of all, you're looking at about, as a fleet leader, because you need to be the driving force in that fleet, you're probably, at minimum, I guarantee you are going to earn 10 million fleet credits. Guaranteed. More likely, though, you're probably looking at about 20-25 million that you're probably going to earn instead. Because you have to be the driving force within that fleet. So, like this here, you see a project, it's nearly finished, it's up to you to go out, get those engineering DOFs, and put that project on cooldown. That's your responsibility. Get them on cooldown, because you need your projects to cycle over so that members can start filling up the resources again, get rid of their fleet marks, and earn fleet credits so they can start purchasing fleet gear. Alright? Now, tier 1 of the Starbase, if we look here, it gives Starbase Exterior 1, it unlocks mail access, it unlocks ship selector, and this one, Common Fleet Duty Officers. Now this is something at the Fleet Starbase. Basically what it means is you can purchase duty officers, common ones, okay, from the Fleet Starbase using fleet credits. So think about this for a minute. Let's take this project, okay? Look what it needs. It needs all sorts of stuff here. Now, there's nobody else in the fleet. I never take experience myself, but because nobody else is in the fleet, I'm going to take it. So there's 2,400 fleet credits, okay? So I just got that added to my stockpile that I've built up here. Look, I'm just over 600,000. So what do I get? 2,400 fleet credits. I can now use those fleet credits to buy more DOFs from the fleet and put those DOFs back into fleet projects, and I get more fleet credits for them. And I'm putting projects on cooldown. So do you see the little trick that's there? You can use your surplus fleet credits that you don't need to buy fleet DOFs or DOFs from the fleet and put those DOFs back into the fleet projects, and you get more fleet credits back. Now, it does work. A fleet DOF or a common quality duty officer that you purchase from the fleet costs 500 fleet credits, and you will get 300 for each one you donate into a project. Like if I click here, see, I get 300 credits, okay? So eventually I will run out, but it's a really, really good little trick to build up your overall fleet credit level. You know, if you want to be the highest earner, and as fleet leader, you should be the highest earner within the fleet. But it's a great way of using those surplus fleet credits to get your projects on cooldown every day. It's a really, really handy little trick. I hope I've explained that well enough so that you understand it. So your surplus fleet credits you can use to purchase DOFs from the fleet and then put them back into the fleet projects, and you get more fleet credits back. And your overall fleet credit contributions goes up, and you're putting projects on cooldown, and you're advancing your fleet. Alright? Okay, so the point is, you are going to need so many duty officers, especially on the Starbase. I mean, look here. Look, 64 science or medical, 55 science or medical. All right, that's over 100 DOFs that's needed there every day just to put this project on cooldown. This one, 28. This one is 28 as well. When they get up to tier 3, they're going to be 64 and 55. When we get up to tier 4, they're going to be higher. All right, you're looking at thousands of DOFs. So you may not be able to wait until you get everything up to tier 4. Not unless you have a shit ton of EC that you can purchase them off the exchange. If you do, and you can do that, go for it. Otherwise, you may have to do the tier 1 Starbase upgrade in order to unlock this ability to purchase common fleet duty officers from the fleet. If you have to do it, do it. But don't do the tier 2 upgrade or any of these shitty little 20-hour ones. See this one here? That is the 2-day one. Don't do that one either. I mean, only upgrade what you have to, which are your facilities. If you have a shit ton of fleet credits and you're finding it hard to put projects on cooldown every day, and you could purchase them from the fleet if the Starbase was at tier 1, then do it. Or if you have a member or a group of members who have a crap ton of fleet credits and are given out that, you know, they can't purchase DOFs on the fleet to put the DOFs back into the fleet, do this tier 1 upgrade. All right, it'll just shorten the grind from, for me, you know, it's from here to here, whereas before it would be from here to here. It would shorten the grind. So yeah, you may have to do the tier 1 Starbase upgrade, but if you do, hold it there. All right, hold it off there, and don't do any of the other ones. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. You are much better off to hold off as many upgrades as possible until you get to tier 4 and you start the tier 5 grind. Alright? Now, next thing, special projects. Right, I won't spend too long on this. There are a number of limited time projects that require a crap ton of dilithium, and they unlock aesthetics within your fleet holding, whether it be the Starbase. Oh, there's a shit ton of them here. I think there's about 15 for the Starbase. Yep. All right. So I think there's 15 for the Starbase. If we look at Spire, there's 8 for the Spire. There's 8 for all the smaller holdings. I think it is 8 or 10. Look, they're all the same. Look, same amount of dilithium. Okay. Every holding has them, and all that they do mainly is unlock aesthetics. Now, granted, they see this one, special upgrade preparation. Stay the fuck away from that project. Do not do it. All right, stay the fuck away from it. You don't want it. Just there. I've said it. Stay away from it. But yeah, all the limited time ones all cost the same amount, without any dilithium discounts. Because look here in the Armada, I'm getting a 10% discount. Okay, on dilithium costs, which is why these are only 172,000. Normally they would be 200,000 dilithium. And I've also got the dilithium mine up to tier 1, which is giving me a 4% 4% dilithium discount. Fleet project dilithium discount, 4%. So yeah, that's all they do. You can run a competition. It'll be a bitch to track. You could run a competition to get all of them finished, and you know, whoever donates the highest amount of dilithium, you know, is the winner. But you know, you need prizes for that. That's totally up to you. You can slot them here and there, do it gradually over time, or you can always keep them slotted, and hopefully they eventually get filled. But once we get past these limited time projects on the Starbase, we can see there are a number of 30-minute projects. Look, all of these are 30 minutes, okay? The only one that you want to be worried about or focusing on is this one right here. Coordinate colonization efforts. And I'll tell you why you want to run this one. It only costs 450,450 energy credits. It requires, currently for me anyway, the numbers might change a little bit depending on what level your fleet is, 69 civilian duty officers and 576, 576 fleet marks, and it only has a 30-minute cooldown. Anyone that's playing the game and playing things like the Admiralty system are going to end up with shitloads of colonists and prisoners. And this project takes civilian duty officers, which both colonists and prisoners fall into that category. So you should be running that project all the time. Always have two of them queued up, one here and one here. All right, so you press that, one goes in here, you press it again, another one gets queued up here. The rewards that it gives: 5 military, 5 engineering, and 5 science XP. It's not worth a damn. But at least you're providing a way for your members to earn fleet credits. Okay, they might have some fleet marks there, or more importantly, probably the colonists and prisoners, and they want to get rid of them. And there's nowhere to put the damn things, so you can get rid of them here in this project. So I highly recommend that one. There are other ones like this one, but it needs tactical and security duty officers. Granted, it's only 8, but look, it could be 8 tactical or security that you could put in here instead and get 1,000 XP and progress up your Starbase even further. So yeah, get past these again. This one, same thing. You know, some science and some engineering. Why bother when you can put them here? The Starbase is the biggest grind ever. Multicultural, this is 10 civilian and 19 non-civilian. Non-civilians are basically tactical, security, medical, science, operations, and engineering. Anything other than civilian. These other ones then are even worse, like refugee, green refugee, blue refugee. Or, sorry, blue refugee, green refugee, common refugee. Which are hard enough to get. And then these ones are even worse. I mean, like, look, it needs 5 green traders. And then this stuff, these are very rare commodities as well. So stay the hell away from them. And only run this one, which is coordinate colonization efforts. Right. I think that's mainly it. Trying to think if there's anything else that I need to go over. One thing that I will go over. Do you remember those projects that we talked about on the other fleets, the lithium mine? If you crit on either of those, you will get these dilithium mine provisions. Now, these are not to be confused with the trade provisions, development provisions that go here, okay? Likewise, on the embassy, if we look here, we have embassy provisions, but the provisions that enable us to purchase gear are diplomacy provisions and recruitment provisions, K13, retrofit, and xenotech. But look at the project K13 provisions, and every one of them is the same, all right? And if we go to our replicator, we can see all the different types of provisions that we get, okay? Actually, there's something. The cost of these things, right? If we look here, currently for me, it's 600 fleet credits. Now, the higher I get my industrial fabricator, which is engineering, okay? The higher I get this up, the cheaper these are. So every time you go up a tier level, these provisions go down in cost. Does that make sense? So the higher engineering is, or at each tier level, these will drop. I think it's 50 per tier level to an eventual cost of, I think it's 400 or 450. compared to what I'm paying now, which is 600. So the cost of these is linked directly to the current level of your industrial fabricator, which is the yellow tier here on your Starbase. Something worth keeping note of. And yeah, those two projects, remember they were duty officer projects that I showed you on the dilithium mine. If you crit on them, you get dilithium mine provisions. So as soon as they become available to you, you might want to start running them and you can get free dilithium mine provisions. A little tip, could be handy. Okay, I think that is everything. Oh yes, I just remembered this then. The leaderboard. Every fleet holding has its own leaderboard, and basically it keeps track of the total amount of fleet credits earned by any particular member. So we can see here, for me, 1,652,418 fleet credits I have earned from the fleet mine, solely from the fleet mine. If we look at the embassy, see, I haven't really been working on that, or there I am. Look, I've only earned 18,600. All right, and it keeps track for each holding the total amount earned by every member that has ever donated anything. We go down here, like 8 fleet credits earned there, 16 here, 2 here. And you can see, look, I've got 2,227,199 on the fleet Starbase. So yes, the leaderboards keep track of total amount of fleet credits earned for that particular holding. Now, for PC only, and this is currently, you can keep track of the total amount of fleet credits earned per character. See, this guy is more Latinum, so that's why, well, if I go back to the holdings, it's more Latinum there. Look, 449 is what I've earned on the Starbase with this guy. But overall, altogether, I've earned 601,382. When you load up the game first, okay, and you open up the fleet window and you go to roster, this is what it looks like, okay? If you click on member comments, you can change this to overall holding contributions, and that will show you the total amount of fleet credits that you or any character in the fleet has earned. Very handy to keep track of for in the case of promotions, if you're promoting based off fleet credits earned. Unfortunately, on Xbox and PlayStation 4, this option is not yet available currently. It's something that will most likely get fixed and brought onto both of those platforms. But yeah, it's not there yet. So you would have to do some adding from here. In fact, actually, probably the best thing would be this option here, export. This will export a spreadsheet for you with every member and all their details. So their character name, their @handle, their rank, their level, and it should export their fleet credits as well, if I remember right. So that's probably the option that you want. I don't know if that's on Xbox or PS4, but it definitely is on PC. If that's not on Xbox or PS4, actually, then yeah, don't heed me. Ignore what I said if it's not on there, because it's completely useless to you. But hopefully they will put this in on PlayStation and Xbox eventually. Until then, you may have to start doing some additions. You know, here, and go through each holding and add up what each individual member's fleet credits are to determine their fleet credits and promote them then accordingly. Right, I think that is it. I know I have rambled on here for a very long time, but I hope that you have found this walkthrough very useful or helpful. I've tried to be as thorough as I possibly can. I think I've touched on everything relating to fleets and the strategy that you should take, which is the most efficient strategy that you can do. So yeah, I hope that you found this helpful. As always, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Please hit that like button, and as always, please subscribe to the channel. My name is Winters, and I will see you next time. So until then, take care.